Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Skyrim Plus. Today we are going to be checking out Havran Castle, a mod by Sindal, who has 20 SSE house mods on the Nexus. Has some really good stuff, you should check it out. As far as locations, we are right underneath the arched bridge in Solitude, so if you look straight up you'll see that stone structure. And then the ship is the transportation to your home. You'll actually be paying for a ship, an island for all of your followers to live, and a castle. The cost of the entire package is 50,000 septims, but kind of like Monster Truck Madness, you'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge. Now that the property is ours, let's go ahead and explore the Ebon Rook. That's the ship that's going to eventually take us to the island where our castle and followers' quarters are. It's like a little village. So let's go ahead and explore the Ebon Rook first. On the other side of the ship is where you're going to find the wheel that operates the ship, and it takes you to several different areas, such as Solitude, Dawnstar, Windhelm, and of course the Havron Isles, which is the community where your people live and where your castle is. Before we deal with the controls of the ship and navigate it, we're going to show you the inside ship's quarters, because on the mod page, one of the directions is to bring your followers inside of the quarters for them to make the trip. If you have them on the deck and you try to navigate to the aisle, then it's not going to work. They're going to stay back. Of course, you just saw who my follower was, a familiar face, the Ebony Warrior. I just downloaded that mod recently too, and yes, he is as overpowered as you think, but it's kind of fun. So I am going to tell him to wait in here in just a little bit so we can make our trip. Here is the master bedroom of the cabin inside the ship. I love the rustic windows. It's got a custom map of Skyrim. Of course, throughout the inside of the ship, you have linked storage to your castle storage too. So if you were to save food on the ship's storage, your food would also be stored inside the castle. Or if you stored armor inside the castle, you could access it from the ship's storage. So that's pretty handy. Alright, down here is where some of your followers can accompany you. I believe there's room for 3 followers on the lower level of the ship. You have a custom model for the Arcane Enchanter. Here's a custom model alchemy lab with some plants on the outside, so you can use some of those common plants to make potions within your ship. That's kind of nice. And then here's that link storage we were talking about earlier. It all makes sense. Through this next door to the right, you have a small bathroom area, which makes complete sense if you're at sea and you have yourself and 3 other followers with you. You've got to find some ways to stay sanitary. Alright, now that we've shown you the inside of the ship, and our follower has been commanded to wait inside the cabin so he can make the trip too, now we can go up and use the steering wheel to navigate to our new destination, the Havron Isle. Just click on the wheel and select Havron Isle. Ahoy matey! We have made it to our destination, the Havron Isle. Although it looks like Skyrim is in the background, you cannot swim in the water to get back to Skyrim. That is a note that the mod author put in the description. So with that being said, we are going to get off of this ship and take a tour of your island. And when we approach the town, we see this beautiful large tree in the middle of town square with butterflies flying around, full of life as we exit the ship. What a calm, comfortable way to be greeted into your 50,000 septim investment. And straight down the road from the large tree is your large player castle. But we're not going to look at that first, because that's kind of like eating dessert before you've had your meal. First, we're going to take a jaunt around town to see where all of your hardworking followers get to stay. After all, they're kind of like offensive linemen or fullbacks on a football team. They do all the dirty work and the skill players get the credit. In this case, we're kind of like the skill players. Here is our first of 3 merchants on the island, and this is the general goods merchant. I do have a mod installed that makes the merchants carry more gold and more inventory, but just wanted to show you that this is a merchant that is available to you on the island, and they do have their own quarters. After viewing this quarter, I am going to present the rest of the video of the village in Sally Struthers' speed. And if you grew up in the 80s and the early 90s, you remember her from those infomercials where she would talk about the offerings at that college. I'm going to be that fast with the video going through the rest of it. So just kind of keep that in mind as we speed along through here. And now we're just going to work our way from left to right around this circle. Okay, so to the left of the merchant, we have the first of several farmhouses. There's a cooking pot that you can use. Here's a bedroom downstairs with some nice static furniture, some dark elf lamps. Really cool custom flag up there. There's another bed upstairs. In case you're wondering, those weapons cannot be removed, hence the word static. Alright, so across from there is another farmhouse. The first time I came and looked, I was a little confused because I thought I had seen the same farmhouse, but it was a different one. And there are several of these homes named farmhouses. There's a couple of beds for you upstairs, cooking pot, and I think there's a cooking pot in just about every single one of these homes. To the left, you've got a fishing dock, and I did see some fish swimming through the water earlier. You have another farmhouse right after you hit the fishing dock. Here's a nice little cot for some of your followers to use. There's another cooking pot, and this rope ladder didn't seem to want to work, so I used my better jumping mod to jump to the top just to see what was up there. Alright, as we exit this home, we'll take a look at some laundry area over here, a washboard, kind of like, the in-shape people's abs. And now we'll go into this farmhouse. There's another cooking pot, another bed for one of your other followers, 2 beds downstairs, and let's see what's upstairs. We've got a Shrine of Debella. So if you have need to use one of those shrines, they've got several of different flavors on the island. There's some cabbage, some carrots, some gourd for you right there. And then over here is an alchemist. So she has 1 potion for sale. Earlier she had 3, so I think it's flexible on that. Of course, an alchemist's home would have an alchemy table. That makes sense. And then there's a bed up here, and it doesn't say own, so I think you can use that too, and a Shrine of Kinnereth. Alright, before we go up to that castle, we're going to look on the other side of the circle now. Here is the blacksmith's home, equipped with a cooking pot, a bed downstairs, and a bed upstairs. So 2 more bedrooms in the blacksmith's house. Of course, he's a merchant too, and I think he's benefiting from that mod that I have installed that gives extra items to be sold. Of course, he has everything that you would expect from a blacksmith: a forge, an anvil, chopping block, smelter, workbench, grindstone, etc. You've got a doghouse there in case you have Barbas as your follower or another dog from a mod. And then here's the custom bar. I like that bar sign out front. That was pretty cool. And then this is actually owned by the bartender. See, the bed was owned, so you couldn't have someone staying there. But you could visit and, break up your day a little bit. Love the bunting in the outdoor eating area. We have another bunkhouse here, and this lives true to its name because upstairs you're going to find that you have 6 beds for your followers, so this will be a kind of a hub for that. You'll see that flag that was up there with the raven several times within the castle grounds too. That's pretty neat. You've got some chickens, and of course where you have chickens you have eggs. And then here is a farmhouse appropriate with the chickens nearby. There's an oven. There's a cooking pot. You saw a bag of coffee on the floor. There's a bed for you to use for one of your followers. And then you have this windmill with the grindstone in it. However, it's just for looks. It is not operational. Okay, in this home, it looks like you've got a cooking pot, a couple of beds downstairs, and then upstairs, you're going to have an additional larger bedroom with some storage. And then on the shelf on the way out that we're going to look at, you'll see a shrine of Kinnereth. So, yeah. And as we exit this home in just a moment, we'll see another farming area with wheat, cabbage, leeks, potatoes, and gourds. There is one more area that we are going to explore that was off the beaten path of our little circular path that we were taking. It is a lighthouse, so we're going to go ahead and investigate the inside of this. It does have some harvestable items, a bed, and it has a cooking pot as well. To keep us from watching me running upstairs, I'm going to magically transport us up to the top of the stairs so you can just enjoy the view of the castle, the sea. And then I saw these embers for the torch of the lighthouse, and I tried to light it. But then I read in the mod author's notes that the exterior lights come on at night and turn off during the day. From the large tree in the center of town, we will sprint down the path behind it as quickly as we can to get onto the castle grounds. And we'll admire the bird on the perch overlooking your 50,000 septon castle. We'll admire the brickwork around the property and your first courtyard. And then we'll head towards the main entrance in your second courtyard. And if you haven't noticed, there's a theme of birds. Look at those beautiful rustic windows. Fantastic. And look at this fountain coming out of the dragon's skull. Nice touch. And this first entrance we're going to take is the mural passage. When I heard mural, I thought it was going to be like a room of paintings, but it's actually just kind of a hallway to a garden area. But on your way to the garden, you've got this nice little vampire area with the gargoyles, the blood decoration. Pretty neat, but that was a surprise. Then heading out this other door at the end of the hallway, you do hit that garden area. You have what's my favorite area of the house. I love alchemy. I do it to make my money on every playthrough. In this particular greenhouse, you do have an alchemy table. You have several mountain flower varieties, jazzbay grapes, and about 19 soils. Over here in this area, you have 15 fertile soils, so 34 in total. You do have a smithing area over here. That leads you to the armory. We'll go there in a little bit. But over in this smithing area, you can see your tanning rack, your workbench, your grindstone, your anvil, and then around the corner over here is a smelter and a wood chopping block. So all of your needs are covered. You also have a well right over here by the greenhouse, so that works for your role-playing of watering your plants. And then it does have this neat little tower that you can ascend, and you can look out of the windows and take a view out of those windows. Pretty neat. You can check on your followers and make sure that they're behaving. There's that courtyard again at the front of the property. And now we're going to backtrack a little bit through where we came from. So I guess we need to head back down these stairs. Or we'll just jump. Haha. There's that dragon skull fountain again. And we'll take a look at the barracks. All right, we are in the barracks now, and it looks like it's pretty simple in design. You've got a fire, a deer head, some places to put some weapons and shields, and some mannequins for your armor. That hatches to the armory, but we'll show you that in a little bit. You do have 4 beds inside of this area, so I imagine that means you could put 4 followers here. All right, we're going to go ahead and enter the main castle area now. And when we enter into a dining room with a tall ceiling. This goes upstairs, but we're going to wait. We're going to look at all this stuff on the main level first. This house is adoption friendly. It does have room for 6 children. I love the way that they decorated this area with the bunting and the miniature horse, the playground ball, especially with me being a PE teacher. I love that. Then they've got some custom artwork on the wall. They've got a dummy for the kids to practice with their wooden swords. Wow, they really captured some imagination. I guess that's where they can create their custom artwork with the chalk and the paper. And they even have a pet butterfly. I think I wouldn't mind growing up in there if I were a kid. These valves do work, so you can turn on and off the water. However, that is just a mirror for looks. It is not one of those change appearance mirrors. There's another Shrine of Dibella. This also works. And if you have your followers go in here, it does auto strip them. It does not auto strip you. All right, let's go ahead and venture on through the rest of the castle and see what we can find. This looks to be a kitchen area with an oven, some harvestables near the oven, another faucet that can turn it on and off, a cooking pot, and some more food storage areas back here. Oh, there's a butter churn if you need that for survival mode. I've never actually played survival mode. You guys will have to let me know if it's worth a try or not. All right, let's go through this door and see what we find. Looks like we found the greenhouse area again, so we'll go back in. And let's make this turn, and yeah, let's go upstairs and see what we can find. Got some weapon racks, another one of those custom banners with the birds. A nice view of the ocean out on your balcony, overlooking the greenhouse area. And you can see your lighthouse in the distance. All right, now we'll go straight down across the hallway to the other upstairs. Looks like you have a nicer single bedroom for a follower, maybe like a Lucian or someone like that, an Inigo. And then this looks to be the master bedroom with a fireplace, a nice bed. Look at these cool chairs. Looks like you've got another shrine of Stendar by your bed. And then it has this neat little curtain thing that you can open and close with a lot of your armor and clothing storage. And remember, that's linked to your ship. So if you want to go and store something here, you can still access it from your ship if you have your ship nearby. Lots of custom artwork on the walls, and lots of bookshelves for the bookworms of Skyrim, #Ryantium. I love to watch that guy's YouTube videos back in the day. Now that we've looked over the balcony to make sure our guests aren't stealing the sweet rolls, let's go and see where this stairway leads. Ooh, you have a disenchantment font, so you can put items in there that are player enchanted, and then it takes the enchantment off and you can reuse the item. So if you've like enchanted a ring but you've gotten better in enchanting, then you can go and take it to the disenchantment font and put a different enchantment on it. And then of course you had your enchanting table. Now here's the gallery. This is a separate add-on if you want it. It is a manual download, but it does have some unique features, like there's a Dark Brotherhood section that we just left, and it has storage for things like the Thieves Guild, Paragons, Black Books, Claws, all of those types of things, kind of like the Legacy of the Dragonborn Museum. And it also has a lot of generic mannequins and weapon racks for you to put some of your prized possessions. And I'll tell you what, we'll visit the armory a little bit later too, and there is no shortage of places to put armor or weapons or whatever your heart desires. There is room to accommodate it in this, especially if you like swords. You're hooked up in this place because there is no shortage of places to put swords. All right, there's your claw holders. Looks like that's related to the DLCs. There's your masks. Paragons. Your jars of the plants and insects. This looks like this might be a Daedric display room based on that flag. Oh yeah, definitely Daedric. But what a neat space. Alright, there's a Shrine of Nocturnal, so if you want to boost and sneak, you can. And this ladder takes you up to a secret area where you can put your favorite armor, and I believe it has a weapon rack up here too. Yep, there it is. Alright, let's venture on to the next area, which is the armory. Alright, speaking of weapons and needing to store weapons and armor places, this place has the hugest armory. But first, let's see what's out of this hatch. Oh, another way to see the greenhouse. I love this greenhouse area. Alright, back to the armory. Let's head on down these stairs and look at this place. You've got 5 mannequins to the right of the doorway, 5 to the left. If you are OCD like I am, you love that symmetry. Between these mannequins and those mannequins, there are 20 mannequins on this side, so you've got 30 mannequins in this one little room. And we can't even count the number of sword holders, because look at all of those things. Wow. Lots and lots and lots of weapon racks. Alright, well that is all of the rooms of the castle. As we wrap up our tour of Havran Castle, I figured we could end by doing a nice fly around of the area so you can see how well the lighting looks at night. For the price of a mere 50,000 septims, you can have accommodations for 19 followers and 6 children. And I failed to mention this earlier in the video, but if you move your 6 children into the castle, they will actually play in the city during the daytime. You'll also gain a player castle with one of the largest armories I've ever seen and a house mod. This concludes our tour of Havran Castle. Give me a Y for yes or N for no in the comments section below. Do you plan on downloading this mod? Thanks for viewing the video on Skyrim Plus. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons below. I hope to see you again on the next episode. See ya!